CBS's reboot of The Equalizer gets a second round. The Equalizer, starring Queen Latifah, has been renewed for a second season at CBS. I tell you more coming up next. Alright, so yes, CBS has greenlit a second season for the Queen Latifah-led Equalizer reboot. But before we get into that, allow myself to introduce myself. My name is Leigh Dickey, comedian, actor, producer, reviewer, and a man whose parts are equal to The Equalizer. Does that make sense? Probably not. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to Leigh Dickey TV. Subscribe to both my podcasts, the Beats and Speaks podcast, and Yo Nostalgia on your favorite podcast app and player of choice. Please do leave us a 5-star rating and a review as well. Thank you very much. Visit my official website, LeighTDickey.com. Follow along on social media at LeighTDickey. And you can read up on this article, the second season renewal for the Queen Latifah-led Equalizer reboot, in the description. I will leave the article that I found all this information on in the description for you to enjoy and read yourselves. But now that all the housekeeping is out of the way, let's get into more on this season 2 renewal for the Queen Latifah-led Equalizer reboot at CBS. The Equalizer gets a season 2. How about that? To be honest, when the show debuted, and I reviewed the trailer for it, which I'll also leave in the description and in the cards for you guys to enjoy. When, I heard this show was renewed for a second season, I honestly was surprised. I mean, I've tried to keep up with it because there's just so much stuff coming across my plate in terms of reviews and the things that I want to give you guys, that it's kind of hard. I've seen the first couple episodes. I know that they're up to 4. By the time you guys hear this, they'll still be up to 4 because the next scheduled episode 5, isn't slated to come out until March 28th. And they're airing these on a Sunday, by the way. Like, the series debuted, according to this article from Deadline.com, which, as I said, I will link in the description for you all. The series debuted right after the Super Bowl on February 7th and brought in almost 24 million viewers. Like, I know it's a Super Bowl, and that's crazy. The fact that, they were ramping this up so much. The debut of this Equalizer reboot with Queen Latifah in the title role. The series also stars Lisa Lapira, Chris Noth, Lorraine Toussaint. I mean, it's a who's who, basically. Who these people are when it comes to, say, TV shows and acting in Hollywood. Queen Latifah as well, especially. And as I said, even in the review, I was surprised. I mean, I want the series to do well. I've seen the first 2 episodes, and to me, they're okay. You can still enjoy the series, if you're not sort of how do I put this, reminiscent of, say, the Edward Woodward portrayal, or, you're looking at it with, say, rose-tinted glasses on for Denzel Washington. You can still enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy it. It hasn't blown me away, because it comes off as a bit of as much as I want it to do well, it comes off a bit like pretty much every other procedural. And that's not a knock. It's just sort of procedurals and drama series on any network, whether it's CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, wherever. They have a formula, you have an hour to tell a story, start it off strong, get to the middle, and then eventually solve it all at the end. That's just how television drama series work. I mean, you see soap operas do it all the time. You see shows like CSI, they did that all the time. NCIS, they do that all the time. And speaking of NCIS, like I said, the series airs on a Sunday, right? It debuted right after the Super Bowl, brought in almost 24 million viewers, and they've continued airing these episodes on Sundays, which is, as a person who's worked in media and television and understands a bit about the rating system, because I've mostly worked in, say, local news and, daily talk shows and stuff like that. But, I understand how ratings work. And I understand that, like, Tuesday is probably the best day to launch a television show or to schedule a television show. Because, it's the day after Monday, you're pretty much settled into the week, and you just want some good TV. So now we're going to get to the bit where I said NCIS. NCIS will routinely every single Tuesday, because that's where, CBS has it on the schedule, they'll routinely bring in anywhere between 13 million and 22 million, depending on the week, depending on the episode. That's crazy. And they've done that since 2003, and NCIS itself is a spin-off of JAG, which brought in solid numbers for CBS. And even for that one season, it was on NBC, even though NBC canceled it and CBS picked it up and aired it, and had its second season run mid-season in 1997. But, JAG brought in solid numbers. NCIS has several spin-offs, like, New Orleans was just canceled, but I think that had to do with moving the show around a bit, and it couldn't really find a foothold after moving from Tuesday to Sunday. But, as I said, NCIS will routinely bring in between 13 and 22 million viewers every single week. Now, how this ties in to, the Queen Latifah-led Equalizer reboot, Sunday is pretty much a dead day in terms of TV, right? Because I know that we've all been home because of what's been going on in the world in the last, year and a bit. But, Sunday, usually nobody has a TV on, right? During the weekends, nobody has a TV on. Saturday, Sunday. But I suppose, it's a blessing in disguise to have a lot of people at home. Because as I said earlier, the Equalizer, the 2021 reboot, debuted right after the Super Bowl. It brought in almost 24 million viewers, and it's continued airing on a Sunday, right? And they've continuously brought in 14.6, at least according to this article, 14.6 million viewers. That's nuts, okay? To bring in, I'm sure the last year and a bit, with everything that's gone on in the world, has something to do with it. But, to bring in 14.6, 15 million viewers weekly, and you're 4 episodes deep, that's crazy. That's insane to me. So, no wonder if you're getting NCIS level numbers on a Sunday, that's nuts, man. Because even with what's going on in the world these days, I can't see any show bringing in those type of numbers, even though, that's all we have now. Because, think about the television landscape these days. You have Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, Paramount Plus, which replaced CBS All Access. There are so many streaming services, Amazon Prime, that, to bring in that many viewers on a Sunday, as I've said, I've taken into account what's going on in the world in the last year and a bit, but which normally doesn't happen, obviously, because Sunday is a dead day in terms of TV anyhow. But to bring in almost 15 million viewers weekly after your debut, right after the Super Bowl, that's crazy. I mean, and again, just take into account the fact that we have so many options. YouTube, where this is going to go up, by the way. And Facebook Watch, okay? Like I said, Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max. I mean, if you're in the States, because I don't think it's available here in Canada. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, they still bring in crazy numbers, because that's unheard of on a Sunday. At least in 2021, and even within the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, you never hear of numbers that high, right? On a weekend, because people are doing stuff. Yes, okay, we can't necessarily go anywhere, but still, to bring in nearly 15 million viewers weekly, that's still pretty crazy to me. Anyway, given the current, say, like, entertainment, television, viewership landscape. That's nuts. You're bringing in, like I said, NCIS Tuesday numbers. You're bringing those in on a Sunday. Like, you got something. I think maybe even people are, whether or not you're staying home, which you should be doing, but yeah, at least as much as possible. You know, whether or not you're staying home, or whether or not you're just nostalgic for the Equalizer just because of the series from the 80s, whether it's, you know, you're nostalgic for Edward Woodward, that's a mouthful, or, you know the Equalizer, like myself, because I've never seen an episode of the 80s show. It went off the air, I think, the year I was born, so I'm not necessarily, like, I've never seen an episode because I don't think it aired in syndication up here. If it did, I've never seen it. It ran 4 seasons and got 88 episodes, which I think is the minimum to get into syndication. I haven't seen, even to this day, and I'm 31, I still haven't seen an episode, right? I've seen plenty of promos for it, and it looks bad, like the original show, and it looks badass. But I've never seen an actual, like, full-length episode of the original show. I've seen both movies and loved those. And, of course, like I've said, I've seen the first 2 episodes of this Queen Latifah reboot. And it's okay. Like, I still wanted to do well, and clearly with numbers like nearly 24 million viewers after the Super Bowl, and you're pulling in nearly 15 million viewers weekly, that's impressive, right? So no wonder CBS was like, yeah, we'll give it a second season. Like, we'll renew it for year 2. And, you know, the first season is only scheduled to go 13 episodes because it was a mid-season debut. It debuted in February, so I'm assuming it's going to run until May. Even with a 4-week break, it may even run until, like, early June, perhaps, because that's basically what a mid-season is. You get, like, 13. I've worked on shows that, you know, you work from, say, September through, like, late August, early September, right through January, or right through, like, say, a holiday break between, you know, the end of December, so around Christmas time, to January, right? And then the network or station or whatever will decide on whether or not they want to pick you back up. And most times, like in the shows that I worked on, they did, right? Because I was at this station for probably about 6 or 7 years. So, like, the shows kept getting renewed because they kept delivering what the network and what the station wanted. And in the case of this Equalizer reboot, yeah, like, that's nuts. Like, 15 million, almost 15 million viewers weekly. To get numbers that you would normally see during the week, on a weekend, that's insane. I mean, I don't know whether or not, like, it would have made it had the world not pretty much shut down in the last year and a bit. So, you know, it's just, I mean, it's impressive. And CBS, obviously seeing the numbers and seeing how many people view, like, watch and view, and probably have the show either saved in their favorites or T-vote or, you know, on their PVRs. Yeah, like, with nearly 15 million viewers weekly, why wouldn't you renew it? I mean, it gets a season 2 thanks to the strong ratings, right? Like, if you can get people to watch, of course, the network's going to throw another season at you, like, more money, right? And, like, kudos to the production staff. You know what I mean? Like, I know that they went through a production shutdown earlier in the season, but, you know, right after they kicked off, I think. But with everything that's gone on, and to get nearly 15 million viewers weekly, that's really impressive on a weekend. It's unheard of almost. I mean, I can't think of another show that I know of that brought in that strong of ratings on a weekend, because that never happens. But then again, like, you know, the times that we're living in now are 1 in a million, 1 in a billion, whatever. It's just, this doesn't happen either. So it's just kind of, like, it's surreal, but it's also very cool. I mean, I'm glad that they got a season 2, because how often does that happen? I mean, apparently it was their first renewal of this season. So hopefully, I know that they're only getting 13 episodes because it was a mid-season debut. So I don't know, maybe they'll give them more episodes. Maybe they'll get a full season now, right? So maybe it'll run from September through like May next year. Or, you know, the second season will debut sometime in like between September and December of this year, and then run through, say, like May or early June. I mean, that would be something. They've got enough of a fan base, obviously, to warrant a second season, and CBS gave it to them. So kudos and congratulations to the crew and cast and the people at CBS and of the Equalizer. I mean, I'll applaud. Like, that's you know, well done. What can I say? Like, I'm tripping over my own tongue. I'm speechless. But there it is. CBS has renewed the Equalizer reboot for a second season. You know, who knows when it's going to debut? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Follow along on social media at Leigh Dickey. Visit my official website, LeighTDickey.com. Subscribe here to the Leigh Dickey TV YouTube channel. Listen to and subscribe to both my podcasts, the Beats and Speaks podcast and Yo Nostalgia. Please do subscribe, leave us a review, and rate us 5 stars if you would, please. And thank you. That is very much appreciated. You can find me, again, at Leigh T. Dickey on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All the links to all the information you need is down in the description and show notes below. But I have been Leigh Dickey. This wraps up another video and another episode on Leigh Dickey TV, the YouTube channel, LeighTDickey.com, and probably the Beats and Speaks podcast. All right, I'm Leigh Dickey, and I am signing off. Peace.